So once more, welcome everyone. We're very happy to have with us today our speaker, Oleksandr Berezko, Associate Professor at Lviv Polytechnic University and former Eurodoc President. And today he's going to tell us a lot of interesting details how Eurodoc is involved in European funded projects that are relating to open science, and particularly three ones that he's actively collaborating in: Open Research Europe, OPTIMA, and Open4UA. So we're very happy and looking forward to your presentation. Alexander, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Sebastian. Thanks all. Thanks for joining us. I hope that more people will later be able to watch this record on YouTube or some other social media. So, as Sebastian said, my name is Oleksandr Berezko, and I had many different roles in Eurodoc over previous years, but currently I'm an advisory board member. And today we will talk about Eurodoc commitment to open science, and particularly about three projects which are super relevant and are aimed at bringing positive change to the world in general, right? So let me share my screen. I hope we can see it now. Yeah. All right. So again, today's topic is Eurodoc Advancing Open Science, ORI, OPTIMA, and Open4UA projects. I will deliver my presentation and leave some space for your questions. So if you would like to ask something, please do. I will try to answer them. First of all, 2 words about Eurodoc. Most of you probably know what it is, but Eurodoc is a non-profit organization based in Brussels, and it is supported by volunteers. Eurodoc delivers and informs policy at the European level, runs work groups and events, and actually tries to bring change to research culture, especially concerning early career researchers, right? Eurodoc is a huge network from Ireland to Azerbaijan, right? Currently, we have 25 national associations of young, let's say, early career researchers or junior researchers in 23 countries of Europe. So Eurodoc has been committed to open science since quite a long time. And we were committed on many different levels. One of them was, of course, policy level, because Eurodoc is in the position to inform policy, co-create policy, and advise policymakers, and lobby for some things, of course. So Eurodoc, for instance, participated in joint statement, released a joint statement and implementation guidance for Plan S, made many inputs to UNESCO Open Science recommendation and many other policy documents, which in this or other manner shape research culture in the European Union and beyond. Eurodoc also had many other, say, smaller and bigger events and initiatives connected to open science, such as Eurodoc Open Science Ambassadors, which was an amazing training for early career researchers. The idea was to train people who will implement open science in their local communities, nations, etc. So in my case, I was open science ambassador for Ukraine, and in my case, it was quite effective because at some point I was responsible for implementing and shaping the national open science plan for Ukraine. So as you can see, these things work very well. Also, Eurodoc more and more becomes what we can call a research performing organization, because there are some research projects, small and not that small, in Eurodoc. So in 2020, we organized a relatively huge survey among Europe, collected data, and there is now a preprint available which discusses the attitudes of early career researchers towards various aspects of scholarly publishing in Europe. What is important that this preprint can, let's say, discusses not only early career researchers in European Union in general, but among different regions of Europe. Also, Eurodoc, as I already said, conducts many webinars and online events, both offline events, and one of them was discussion on peer review, let's say with a focus on open peer review, which was conducted last year and is available on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it when you have time. Okay, and of course, projects. because research projects, and not only research but also educational projects, are one of the main forms of bringing positive change. Projects are like an effective instrument because they have budget, they have time scale, right? And they have a specific goal. So that defines project in general, and of course EU-funded projects as well. Eurodoc is involved in many projects, but I would like to focus on 3 of them. We will omit the Opus project, but I believe that this project deserves a dedicated webinar, and probably some of Eurodoc team will deliver this webinar in future. So ORE, which stands for Open Research Europe, OPTIMA, which stands for Open Practices, Transparency and Integrity for Modern Academia, and Open4UA, which stands for Open Science for Ukrainian Higher Education System. As you have already noticed, 2 of the 3 projects has a little the focus on Ukraine. One of the reasons is because I'm Ukrainian and I try to bring positive change to Ukraine, but the things I will be speaking about are very much pertinent to any country, both in Europe and beyond. So, as you can see, so Open Research Europe, OPTIMA, Open4UA, and Opus, all of them start with the letter O, right? So that's somewhat a common denominator for all of them. And this O stands for Open Science, right? So Open Science is transparent and accessible knowledge that is shared and created, developed through collaborative networks. That's one of the definitions I like, right? So Open Science is an umbrella term for various practices. Many of you have probably seen this relatively old diagram from the Foster project. And open science can be implemented on all stages of research life cycle, from conceptualization to publication, and even after it, right? UNESCO recommendations on open science emphasize its importance on many levels, but let me also tell you that for conflict-affected areas and countries, open science is also very important because it helps to rebuild and develop further conflict-affected higher education and research systems. Okay, that's very good, but there are some barriers in implementing open science, and especially for early career researchers, right? Which we need to understand and try to, remove. One of the main barriers is, of course, lack of credit or acknowledgement, because if no one incentivizes open science practices, then it's very difficult for researchers, and especially early career researchers who are a little bit disadvantaged, which is logical because they're only starting, right? They don't have resources, connections, networking, and experience their like more experienced colleagues have. So that's quite discouraging, right? Lack of knowledge understanding is also important. I will later show you another slide. So that's indeed visible. Lack of skills, which is connected to lack of knowledge and understanding. A lack of infrastructure, which is particularly relevant for developing countries, of course, because you know that European Union puts much effort in establishing open science infrastructure, such as European Open Science Cloud, Open Research Europe, and many other initiatives, right? And lack of resources, because one of the, let's say, not disadvantages, but features, let's call it like this, of open science, it's open, but it's not free, right? So many things require money, and societies, communities, and nations who are not that developed often lack these funds and resources, so can lag behind, of course. War is also a huge barrier to open science, but we are not focusing on it. So as I mentioned, according to our own study, there is super evident for us that rating of knowledge regarding open science correlates with career seniority, which is like super obvious. This might, from one point of view, that might be like strange, because young people like early in their career are more open to some new things, but that's true. But on the other hand, it's just lack knowledge and experience. So we have to balance this with initiatives and other important things. So one of the possible answers to this lack of incentives is, of course, COAR, a global coalition of advancing research assessment, which is now already a buzzword, probably, right? And it's everywhere. It's all over. I mean, I cannot imagine like serious conference or forum in Europe which will not mention COAR and reform of research assessment in this or that way, right? So I will get back to this later several times during my presentation, but generally, that's one of the ways to develop the initiatives I am talking about. Also, Eurodoc has initiated a specific working group in COAR to assess mid and early career researchers, so that's probably an answer to these questions, right? So Open Research Europe. What is Open Research Europe? The first project, right? That's an innovative publishing platform of European Union, which is, of course, open access. What makes Open Research Europe innovative is that the whole workflow is completely open, right? So here you can see Open Research Europe's workflow. After article submission, it will be checked by like team of editors, and after that, it will be published as a preprint. So the time between submission and publication can be 2 weeks, which is super quick. I know that most of you probably have this publishing experience, and it's not like uncommon. Then you wait for like a year for publication of an article, which is insane. And from my perspective, it's unacceptable in like a digital world we are living in, right? So we can post a tweet in 2 seconds, but you have to wait a year, like half a year even. It's too long. Of course, it's not the end of the story, but because after the preprint is published, there is a very nice open peer review process, and it's open. Open peer review, that's a type of review where, like in general, everyone knows who reviewed, and everyone can read the reviewer's report, right? There are different traits of open peer review, but I don't want to go that deep. Just if you are interested, you can go to Open Research Europe, open any accepted paper there, and you will see open reviews published alongside this paper. From my point of view, it's also very important for early career researchers because this open reviewing mechanisms brings this advantage of collective mentorship to early career researchers because they see how their senior peers assess papers and can like learn and adjust their attitudes accordingly, right? Let me tell you that Eurodoc is an expert partner in Open Research Europe project, and we are really actively collaborating with them. I already mentioned our, let's say, small research we did, but also we are organizing many different events. And this is a photo from last year Eurodoc workshop on Open Research Europe in Prague, Czech Republic. During the CRECON conference, we will organize a similar workshop this year as well, and this collaboration will hopefully last, right? Because Open Research Europe will continue, and so will our collaboration, right? Hopefully. Okay, OPTIMA project. So Open Research Europe is something which is like procured, right? So European Commission procures this via public tender and everything like this. So OPTIMA and Open4UA project are like regular educational projects funded via the Erasmus Plus scheme, which is quite popular, which is super popular in Europe, and brings change to many aspects of academic life on the continent. So I'm the project manager of this project, and it is coordinated by Lviv Polytechnic National University, my university. It runs from 2021, and it was prolonged for 1 year due to the circumstances of war, because it was very difficult to operate during, of course, previous year and in the times to come. So we have a nice consortium, which is well spread around Europe, and we have 3 European Union universities, nice NGOs. Eurodoc is also a full partner here. And we have a nice also community in Ukraine for universities, National Agency for Higher Education Quality Assurance, and National Antarctic Scientific Center, which is quite an asset for us. OPTIMA's main goal is implementing open science practices in Ukraine, right? And also we focus on disadvantaged academic communities of Ukrainian displaced universities, because at the beginning of the war, part of the universities were moved from the temporarily seized territories in east and south of Ukraine to, let's say, mainland Ukraine, which is not occupied, and they continue to operating there. So the strategy is as follows. We introduce more open and transparent practices, leading to increasing academic integrity, which will lead to improved educational quality. So that's quite a complex thing, but we think that this will make things happen. And we focus here again on open peer review. I like this instrument very much because it brings transparency to already known academic practice, which is quite popular and is often like peer reviewing is often a gatekeeper to publishing. It's not always like this, but and that is why I like preprints. But in general, like, okay, if not publishing, then indexing in, let's say, Scopus and other databases. But that's a very known practice which distinguishes, let's say, academic papers from papers in a, I don't know, regular journal, right, or newspaper. So we focus on this. And okay, I already mentioned Ukrainian displaced universities, of course. After the start of full-scale invasion last year, the number rapidly grew, and this project is even more relevant than ever. So here are the plan of the OPTIMA project, and points marked in green are already completed. So one of the key outputs is the open peer review platform. It's experimental open peer review platform called Peers International, where we are now host like 11 academic conferences organized by Ukrainian displaced universities. So please visit. It's Peers International, peers.international. It's an open community of peer reviewers. So all of you are very much invited and encouraged to register there, which is of course free. And after that, you will be able to participate and review papers. Everything is very simple, but the simplicity probably is a good thing and will foster collaboration, right? Also, this is one of our promo posters. So if it will be easier for you to scan the QR code and go there, so you are more than welcome. So OPTIMA project focuses on this open peer review aspect, and also, yeah. So also you can join OPTIMA community on social media via these QR codes. There are several very nice webinars recorded, which are present at our YouTube channel, and many Eurodoc, active Eurodoc volunteers also are speakers at this webinar. So you're more than welcome to participate, right? Then there is a relatively new project called Open4UA. OPTIMA aim was to bring open science practices. Therefore, another outputs of it are like a handbook on open science practices, which will be soon printed and distributed in, let's say, many libraries all over Ukraine. Of course, it will also available in the digital format, so you don't need to have like a paper book. You will be able to download it and read it on your like device. And also this open peer review platform. And now we are working on the open online course on open science practices. I will probably get back to the slide just to make it more visible, right? So the idea of OPTIMA project was to boost understanding of open science in Ukraine. and show how open practices can and might work. However, as I already mentioned, one of the key barriers to open science, besides the lack of understanding and lack of skills, is also lack of incentives, right? So if, let's say, university or I don't know, even on a higher level, national level, you are encouraged to publish, let's say, only positive results. You are encouraged to publish only in, let's say, high-profile journals with high impact factor. You are encouraged to publish, let's say, as much as possible, to grow your, let's say, ASH index as much as possible, right? Then we can speak about open science as long as we want, but this will not make any difference, right? So our new project Open4UA is particularly oriented towards bringing change on a policy level in Ukraine. By the way, it's not an official logo. That's the logo I created very quickly for my previous presentation, and I hope, but we can keep it. We will see. So if you see Open4UA with another logo, don't be scared. It's still valid. Okay. So the full title is Open Science for Ukrainian Higher Education System. It is again funded under Erasmus Capacity Building for Higher Education call, but now it's strand 3. OPTIMA is it's like a joint project which aims at bringing change on let's say institutional level, right? To introduce some new curricula, new training instruments, but strand 3 is something which is specifically aimed at bringing change in structural level, so-called structural project. That is why from the very beginning, Open4UA aims at delivering inputs on policy level, right? It's a 36 months project. It will be 3 years if everything is fine. And it will start very soon on the 1st of November 2023, right? Coordinator is again Lviv Polytechnic National University, and we have just created like a half an hour ago, like a dummy page, which you can already add to your bookmarks, LPMUA/Open4UA. But of course, more information will follow, and all partners will have some like mentions of our Open4UA projects. And if you know the Eurodoc website, it's quite enough, because there under the tab project, there will be, of course, a page describing Eurodoc's participation in Open4UA and with all necessary links for you to proceed. So project objective is a strategic one, and so we are aiming at, let's say, helping Ukraine's knowledge economy grow and boost post-war recovery by reforming higher education system to prioritize open science at different levels, right? So we aim at all levels actually. And according to the National Open Science Plan, we aim at particularly at task number 5, improving the system of quality assessment of scientific and technical activities, right? Because as I said, without proper incentives, all initiatives about open science will fail sooner or later. Okay, again, we have a very strong consortium here, and these are Ukrainian partners of our project. We have 5 Ukrainian universities. 2 of them are displaced universities, and one of them is from Mariupol, which was completely destroyed last year. Fortunately, these scholars were able to move from this city, and now they continue their work. I believe they are based in Kyiv, in the capital of Ukraine, right? Also, we have full partners, Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, National Research Foundation, and 2 Ukrainian NGOs. Innovative University and Institute for Open Science and Innovation. Two of these universities are pilot universities, so things which will be developed during the project will be somewhat tested there. So we will have a nice opportunity to have this reality check, right, from real people who will be assessed via procedures we will create. And of course, we have very nice and strong consortium part from European Union with three very respected universities: TU Delft from Netherlands, University of Ljubljana from Slovenia, and University Libre Brussels from Belgium. Also, we have Amsterdam UMC, that's University Medical Center. This might be a little bit strange for some of you, which was for me, but they're also a research center. It's like a hospital which is a research hospital, and they have many nice research topics connected to ethics and open science as well. And again, Eurodoc and IFL, which will help us to bring international community to this, let's say, issue, and provide us feedback from the wide international community. Also, we have a number of associated partners which do not have budget, but we of course want them to be involved as much as possible. That's INVO, that's a Dutch funding agency which operates huge budgets, and therefore they know very well how to assess good research and not very good research. And we have a Slovenian ministry, which is quite fortunate because we have like Ukrainian ministry and Slovene ministry, so we have this connection, and Central Library of the University of Ljubljana. And also we have Ukrainian Library Association, which will help in dissemination of our results. So Open4UA has three main objectives. First of all, open science is like in general, it's a relatively new thing, right? Relatively, but for Ukraine, it's indeed super new thing. And when we are saying open science, you need to understand that there is no definition of open science in Ukrainian national legislation. Therefore, there is, like, let's say, opportunity for misunderstandings and for different interpretations of this term, right? So that's only one of the aspects, but also many things supporting open science, such as fair data, open and fair data, reproducible research, and others are not defined. Also, there are no, for instance, regulations like incentivizing or let's say telling people to publish in open access. So this all has to be done. In order to do that, our team will draft, let's say, we will create a draft law of Ukraine to amend the, let's say, several laws where open science, open access, and other concepts will need to be implemented, right? And proper incentives have to be introduced. Of course, our consortium will not and cannot be responsible for, let's say, approval of this draft law because we are not a parliament. But what we can do, we can, let's say, do the heavy lifting. We can provide needed analysis and needed approaches, which they then can be discussed and implemented at the national level by Ukrainian parliament, right? And this can also probably can be of like interest to other nations because, okay, Ukraine is among the nations which has a national open science plan, but I know that many countries in Europe still don't have one. And of course, they will need to develop their policy in this regard. And probably this can serve as a basis for their work in this regard. Second objective is, let's say, implementing open science and advancing research assessment on the national level. So, first of all, as we have our national funder on board, we will focus on preparing and implementing recommendations for implementation of COARA principles in policies and practices of our national fund, the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. This is particularly relevant as this funding body is not, let's say, a very old and experienced one. It's a new one. It has like probably 3 or 4 years of history, and they are very open to new initiatives. And if they will lead by example, it will be much easier for other stakeholders in Ukraine to follow their lead and make things happen, right? So we will do that. Also, and that's one of the, let's say, interesting parts of our project, we will develop an open database for research projects funded by the National Research Foundation. So, as I said, open science, of course, requires good infrastructure, and unfortunately, developing countries often lack this infrastructure. So this will be our, not major, of course, but a contribution to developing open science infrastructure in Ukraine, at least at this level. And which is super important, and I will now focus on this a little bit more. We will prepare recommendations for state certification of higher education institutions based on principles of open science. This is particularly relevant because by assessing the institutions, by ranking them, by telling them what is good and what is not, our ministry can actually shape research culture. Because it's very difficult to implement open science and all the principles we are talking about if the rules, the frame, the outer frame is oriented towards different values and, let's say, vision. So, we will work on this. And the ministerial working group on reforming research assessment in Ukraine in this regard will be shaped till the end of the year, and it will be, let's say, international this time, which will bring some nice perspectives from outside of Ukraine. And objective 3, which might be last but not least, let's call it like this. It's not a national level, it's an institutional level, but actually that's the level where you can make things happen. So we will develop an institutional toolkit for implementation of open science in reform and research assessment. I don't know yet what this toolkit will include, but probably some like a draft regulation, some instruments on how to assess, but what's important is that we will not only implement this toolkit, but we will pilot it in 2, as I already mentioned, in 2 Ukrainian universities. So we will not only see how it works, but we'll collect many valuable feedback from people. And this, from my perspective, is one of the most interesting sides of the project, especially for our international community, who then will be able to take this toolkit and implement this toolkit in their own academic environments. All right, so just a quick last slide on the Open4UA project to show you the logic of our work. So after the start of the project, we will shape recommendations to the whole reform with the help of our international partners. After that, we will develop the draft law, and in parallel, we will be developing institutional toolkit. Our draft law will help us, and recommendations will help us to develop means of prioritization of open science and the national level, and then we will organize a national forum on open science, advanced and research assessment in Kyiv. As it will be in 3 years, I very much hope that this forum will take place in peaceful Ukraine. All right. Now, before I... okay, so can you see my screen? Not. Yes, right? It's Eurodoc website, right?
We can still see the screen, yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So what I want to now show you is actually where to find information, which I talked about. So first of all, Eurodoc has a dedicated portal for Open Research Europe. So here you can have, of course, all the links to Open Research Europe resources. You can subscribe to their newsletter and read all our news about our collaboration with Open Research Europe, especially regarding our preprint, our events, and learn about new events available, right? So to advertise this a little bit more, you can see that our events are always very interesting, featuring very nice people such as Martin Andler, president of Initiative for Science in Europe, and other amazing people. So it's always a pleasure to work with them. Also, here is a dedicated project for OPTIMA project, a dedicated page for OPTIMA project, and for Opus project, and there soon will be a page, of course, for Open4UA project. What I want to tell you more. So, of course, probably some of you will ask, how can I join, right? Because Eurodoc activities are very diverse in this regard, and there are many opportunities to join, to collaborate, to grow your network, to be engaged in promoting open science on various levels, to learn something, and to be a part of our vibrant international community. So probably the answer would be to consider joining one of our working groups, right? So for particularly this purpose, I would cordially recommend to go to this tab, to go to Open Science Working Group tab, and consider join this working group. I believe that this working group is currently let's say, coordinated by Agnieszka Żyra from Poland, our former president. And here is a link to, to apply to be part of this. But I believe that you can also go to our secretariat probably page and find email of Agnieszka here. So if you drop her an email, she will be super happy to receive it. So to summarize, Eurodoc is super active on various aspects of open science. I will highlight it for your convenience and even make it bigger. So Agnieszka Żyra, working group on open science co-coordinator. Okay. So Eurodoc is super active in promoting open science all over Europe. And we are engaged in many initiatives on European level, both on, let's say, major projects of European Commission and smaller, but nevertheless not less important things, such as European Union funded projects under Horizon and Erasmus Plus programs. We don't plan to stop, and I can think that we will engage in more such activities in the future. So if you are interested in volunteering, in joining our network, you're more than welcome to do so. Please feel free to drop Agnieszka a word. And now, if you have any questions or want to discuss any aspects of open science or about these projects, here are my contact information, and you are more than welcome to drop me a message or contact me on social media. Okay, so let's leave some space for questions, and if you have any, you are more than welcome to ask.
Thank you very much, Oleksandr.